Right, good morning, ladies and gents. My name's Keith, and I've brought you together before work to have this little introduction to the job site. We're going to be going through a few things with yous this morning, and now there'll be an opportunity for you to do some listening, and then later there'll be the doing. First comes the listening, then comes the doing. There'll be a little bit of listening and a lot of doing, let me tell you. Now, on this job site, there'll be no texting all the time. There'll be no posting on Instagram. And there'll be no laying about. That's the short of it. Now, I'll pass you over to my 2IC. And he'll tell you a bit about the job too.
My name's Darren. And I'm here as a 2IC for the reason being I've got two eyes that see everything. Everything on this job site that isn't being done properly, I'll be finding it. I'll be round corners, checking where you guys aren't working. I'll be picking you up when you come back from lunch late. I'll be stopping you from being on your phones on a regular occasion. And I'll also be picking you up for batteries too often being charged for no necessary reason. Back to you, Keith.
That's a very good point there about the batteries. Back in my day, when we did the apprenticeships, I, of course, did mine in the Air Force.
Ships of apprentice.
Yes, that's right. And we didn't have cordless drills that needed to be charged. Instead, we relied on the corded drills. And you just turn up, plug them in and do your work. But for you young fellas, make sure you got your batteries charged before you turn up. And remember, one battery in the charger is worth two in the drill.
Isn't it two hands in the bush is worth one in the bird or something? Or no, two birds in the bush is worth one in the hand.
It could be. Whatever it is, do your work.
Something of that nature.
Yes. Now, in regards to the working on this site, you all know, some of you have been here before and there's some new people today, but remember, you either ship up or you shape out.
You won't be shaping out very often if
That's
you
right.
ship up properly.
That's right, you ship up and you can do your job. There won't be too much shaping out. Otherwise, you layabouts that want to shape out, head up to Noosa. Plenty of places up there with lots of workshops where you can do your shaping of your surfboards, which you'll be needing plenty of time for that because you'll be unemployed.
And because you're sitting around shaping surfboards all the time, you'll be shaping right out with that gut of yours getting much huger.
That's right. Now, we've all seen how Anderson performs on the site, and I hate pulling him up on it, but Anderson will be watching you today with very sharp, keen interest to see whether you perform up to standard.
You don't normally bring any standard. In fact, that brain of yours needs a battery charge.
That's right. Now, we don't like doing it. I don't like staying back myself after 4, but we will make you work until the job is done.
And when you get home, it'll be a cold dinner on the table from your missus. And you know what normally happens with a cold dinner? It's covered by the Glad wrap. And what happens on the Glad wrap, Keith?
Well, you know, it's inevitable to get the moisture trapped under there, all the droplets of water collecting under the film. Guess where that goes?
Straight into your veggies, straight underneath on the plate. And the rest of the meal, probably a steak or something of that sort, it'll be soggy.
Tough, soggy, rubbish.
And you'll be having a soggy dinner after a very long day at work once you've completed. And
So,
don't forget about Anderson. You've had many warnings. And what happens to guys who've had too many warnings on this site?
well, you know, like you're not going to get a lift down to the train station. You'll be walking, basically. Once you get fired, you'll be walking.
And if you're going on the bus, same thing. You'll be walking there as well. Don't get a lift off one of the workers. They've done a hard day's work and they'll be going home to a hot dinner.
Which reminds me, when you see, you know, more experienced tradies on the site, just listen to what they tell you. We don't want to always have to be picking up your, you know, pieces that you've dropped and things that you've left behind.
And your jargon that you go on with. Because jargon talking gets us nowhere on the job site.
Precisely. Now, as we said, there's time for listening and there's time for doing. And you'll be doing a lot of doing today.
Get your do's in place. We're not talking about hairdos either. Doing means work.
That's right. No laying about like you young fellas are used to. We're not going to do anything for you here. You do things that get the job complete.
And once you've got it done, you can say you've done it, and tomorrow you can do it again.
That's right. And you'll be proud of yourself when you can say that you go home to a hot meal that you can eat when it's ready, rather than wasting time around the job site and having to stay back late. Have a chat to Anderson about that. He can tell you all about it.
And what about the plans of a job? We can't waste time looking at those either.
No.
There's a superior working with you. He will look at the plans. Everyone else, back to work.
That's right. Now, one more thing. Like we were saying before, back in my day, things were a lot tougher. We just got the job done. Now, we don't want to hear whinging or whining or any of your personal problems. Just turn up on time and do what you're told. And do it fast without being asked second time.
And what about us back in the day, Keith, when we went to war?
Oh.
There was no sitting around back in those days, was there?
No, you had to get it done when you were told, and there was no two ways about it.
You answer to the sergeant, he's got the plan, it goes ahead, you win the battle, you come home. Might have a leg missing, but you'll get the job done and you've won it.
That's right. Now, every now and then, one of you fellas puts a screw through his arm or something like that, or shoots himself in the foot with a nail. That's part of the job, and we've all been there. We've all been there.
Probably haven't done that like Anderson, but
yes,
we have been there before.
That's right. And we will, in that circumstance, we do have a first aid kit for that.
That you can help yourself with.
That's right. You just put a bit of that
gauze
on there and tape it up, and that'll be the end of it for you.
Gauze will be the cause of no stopping work, because it's once the gauze is on, you're straight back into it.
That's right. There'll be no time for resting, even if you've been injured.
And what about the coffees when apprentices say, that's not in my job description, Keith?
Well, I've got one thing to say about that. I pay the bills around here.
Who's on top of the pay packet?
That's right.
What name is on top?
You'll see up there, Keith will be on top of the pay packet. That's who pays you. So job descriptions, they change daily. Whatever needs to be done is done, including coffees.
They're done every time. They're made hot. They get to us still hot. None of this make the coffee go missing for about 3 hours, saying I had to go down the shop to get more coffee. Rubbish.
And we all know it doesn't take 3 hours to get some coffee, 20 minutes maximum. So don't try that on. Don't try that on with us.
Don't try and hide that around the corner stuff.
Yeah. There'll be no going up to the shops and having a ciggy break as well and having a chat to your mates.
On your phones.
Just come straight back and get into it.
On your new whiz-fang bangled phones that you've got with your earplugs and your stupid music that you carry on with. We didn't listen to music back on the jobs back in the day, did we, Keith?
We're lucky to have a radio. And
it was talkback shows back
That's
then.
right.
So you could get some incentive to work.
Now, before we leave you, there'll be one little flash of wisdom. You work hard, then you can play hard. That's the way we did it, didn't we? Darren?
We did. And we're still doing it, trying to get you guys to work.
That's right. Now, you might think this is alien, a bit foreign to you, but let me tell you, once you get into a groove, you'll be loving it.
So there you go. Folks, it's now time to get into the system, get into the rigmarole of the job, get things moving, and we'll have a happy job site.
That's right. That's right. We are results focused, but if you push yourself, do the best you can, we'll all be happy.
And Anderson, lift your game. And also, if the cold dinners happen too often, you'll be asked to walk to the train station or the bus stop.
And Anderson can show you the way. He's been there many a time. All right. Get to work, boys.